eye on all that. Mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm. Let's see if we have any other questions. Nope, not right now. Let the guys know in the VIP chat. And right here, I used this created fair value gap as an entry. I saw the close above the breaker. I wanted to see what this candle is going to do. Rejecting off the new day opening gap right here. Opening with a gap to the downside. As long as we get the entry around the breaker block, ideally with a fair value gap overlapping. That's what I was looking for, really. Got it right here. Stop loss at the swing low. We want to see these areas being respected. Also coming from the low of the day, we took out this low, unlike ES. Right here, we took that sell side. Low of the day, we tapped that and immediately reverse away. So do you see that? That's the ideal scenario that I wanted to see on ES. We take that sell side and we move away within 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minute candles without really chopping around here. Clean close above, fair value gap, breaker block. We know the drill. Compared to ES, just not what I want to see. On the 15-minute time frame, no market structure shift confirmation yet either. So not going to enter on a ES. I don't trade in Q, but I keep track of it. Same thing for RTY. But we can see the major difference, like BUP really looks clean. We continue immediately to the upside without playing around too much. That's really what I'm looking for a nice 2022 setup. Let's check out the trade day dashboard. 18 invites. Well, it's all right. Anticipated a little bit more, but that's okay. Just gonna point it out that if you maybe watch the recording and you want to have the chance of winning a 50k account with Trade Day, the funding firm I'm trading for this challenge, where you don't have to pay an activation fee and you can get instant payouts, then make sure to check out our announcements channel on Discord. There's a link right here. I also posted in the comment section on YouTube when I'm uploading this recording. Just click this link. It takes you to Trade Day. They just ask you to accept the rules, and that's all you have to do. It's not that hard. And then we might win a 50k account, and we can start a giveaway for everyone that actually participated. Everyone else that didn't participate, well, they can still participate, but I will modify the odds that people who actually joined the Discord have a higher probability to win because they participated. Everyone else, well, the chances there. It's ending on the 27th. This will be fun. My internet is on and off, and EU is forming a nice setup. Let's check that out. So yes, still not having confirmed anything yet, but it's continuing. Same goes for NQ, RTY as well. Without much trouble, that's what I would like to see. If I see that happening more often on the RTY, I'd put that on my watch list and actually trade it. Really. take a look at EU here. Took sell side, took the previous day's low. Market structure shift would come in right here. Strong sell-off starting at 2 a.m. here on EU. Asia highs still remaining as the high of the day. So really here on EU, what I think is what we saw here is the power of free concept, accumulation. We have a need Asia range. Trap longs one more time right here with that new hourly candle at 1 a.m. Manipulate, one-sided move into one direction, take out a higher time frame objective, shift structure, and expand to the upside. Might not happen in just one session in the next 2 hours right here just during the London kill zone, but I think that's what we're going to see once we look at the EU pair later on during the New York live stream. We took out Wednesday's low and Thursday's low, rejected nicely. And I could really see that play out, especially because we have that tight little accumulation range here during Asia. One last manipulation up, the major manipulation to the downside, trapping shorts. A nice immediate displacement to the upside, fair value gap, target at least the Asia session high. This is what the power of free concept is all about. Accumulation, manipulation, distribution. Bring it back to NQ. We keep an eye on that, of course. Still chopping. Same goes for ES, but ES now for the first time closed above. Still not what I would like to see. So yeah, not going to engage on ES here. But we understand, yeah. Across all the indices, we see the same setup play out. It's typically what we see with the DXY, with EU also presenting the accumulation, manipulation, distribution setup. We would expect the DXY to drop. That's also falling in line with the narrative for higher prices on the indices. See how smoothly RTY is moving without much chop. I really love that. That would be really cool to see that happening a couple times, to trade it afterwards. Yes, you could always enter now, but it's not my, let's call it textbook setup. And we still understand the narrative and why it should really work out and hold. I mean, it's up to you in the end of the day if you want to take the opportunity or not. I save my bullets because I don't have a nice fair value gap to play with. Our 2-to-1 ratio would also be from this market structure shift now. Tiny bit away. Almost back at, yeah, the previous day's high. Not the ideal setup. At least for ES on NQ. Pretty good. Still unnecessary chop. While on RTY, yeah, well, perfect setup. No questions asked. Here we have the Asia session high, buy side. We take that. Move our stop loss to break even. Above the midnight, once we're above midnight, we hold support. We left behind the fair value gap, respected that perfectly. Also had a inversion fair value gap here, respected the breaker block without making much trouble of chopping around. Even with the London Open, no issues at all. Take a look at YM. Oh, YM already hit our take profit target. Then good morning, Ulrich. Let's go. Put that in the strategy chat. Did you take the long setup? I avoided the short because my bias was long the entire morning for the indices. Then seeing the short into basically the breaker block. Didn't like that. RTY took the Asia buy side. Let's see if it would hit our 2-to-1 risk to reward. RTY really the only one of the indices that, well, I mean YM. Let's take a look at YM and also consider that. Well, didn't close above. Then we got the short signal. That's what I didn't like, why I avoided it. Kind of seeing the left shoulder, head, right shoulder, head and shoulder. So inverse head and shoulder setup playing out here. We've been talking about that a little bit. So the short was fine for me. Target the Asia low. We also took out the low of the day right here to the left. Here's the new day opening gap. Then we aggressively moved away from that. Kind of a break in structure. And then taking that short after that just goes against my core instincts, I'd say. Still the probability there is there for it to play out, but I mean, if you already have the knowledge, I think that would be unnecessary. Seeing the long perfectly right here during all this chop. We got the same long setup with the Scalper Pro likely here on ES as well. Can check that out and see if we also got the long signal here. No, not on ES. Let's check out NQ. Also not on NQ because we didn't go below the 50 level, so that's only on YM. YM is running too. Well, nice to see. We already made our profit. I think $500. Let's check that out. Account summary 483. Nice. Two to one hit. And we just keep on pushing. But we are content after a 2-to-1. ES took buy side. So we were still right, but just didn't get the opportunity. We shifted structure, or let's say we confirmed the structure shift with a close above right here at 320, 325, 330 expands through buy side. That buy side liquidity is taken. Like I said, the only thing we could have done after confirming would have been bullish the breaker block right here, this old high, and maybe get filled with luck. Stop loss would go all the way down here, target at 2-to-1, and boom, there we go. Let's see how many points that is. 5 points would have already been hit. So maybe something more for a tape read. We see NQ playing out perfectly and RTY already going nuts. RTY, the Russell 2000 index here for the futures is really starting to be my favorite from the price action in general without messing around much. Moving to the upside. Yeah. So the 2022 model, but not really on ES. Fair value gap is missing for me. Yet still played out. We didn't also take the low of the day, only the Asia session low, so that gives more confidence to NQ because we also have SMT divergence. Our take profit target is perfectly lining up with the previous day's high and really shouldn't be an issue for it to be hit. entry on the 50% of the breaker block, or if we even want lowest fair value gap, we would have also been filled down here. But low hanging fruit, you first scale in at the 50%, stop loss at the low. After taking the low of the day right here, Asia also didn't take the previous day's high compared to ES right here. So yeah, really perfect setup here on NQ as well. 2-to-1 risk to reward. Actually hit before the previous day high has been hit. We had our breaker block. Enough time to enter on that. If you like the setup, RTY popped up. That's really cool. Maybe we could even target a higher risk to reward for RTY because it's just moving quicker compared to ES. Still nice to see the setup play out. I'm really not interested in much more today. We already expanded a tiny bit. I guess, well, maybe a funded account entry could have been possible, but yeah, well, if anything, with the funded account, with the trade day account, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. We saw it coming on NQ, YM, RTY. We had confirmation on all these three, except for ES, so we could use that as confirmation that ES is just lagging behind and we still enter. But this is more of a, yeah, how do we say? Oh, let's hope it's working out because we don't really see it on ES. And yeah, for these 66 days, I just really want to stick to the rules. They weren't obvious right here, like super obvious. Only if you do some intra-market analysis, we see that. Of course, you can still hop in if you really like the setup, but that for me kind of beats the purpose of sticking to the rules. Didn't get our fair value gap entry to go in long, just chopped here, but we still understand that the setup is there, the possibility is there. Yeah, just without YM is also taking off 5 risk to reward from a simple indicator based strategy entry. Of course, you never know. Could go take the Asia high and immediately dump down, but opportunities left and right. So right here we took a break even, and on this trade, I mean, I mentioned it that I'm avoiding it for a 2-to-1. That wouldn't have worked. We wonder why. Stop loss right here, get our long entry and hit our target RTY. 3 risk to reward. NQ also above the previous day's high now. From the breaker block and even our lowest bullish fair value gap. And I don't know, I might kind of end it here. We started at 3 AM right here. Talked about immediately about the NQ setup. Possibility to enter on that was there. We had like 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes before we had the breakout. At least we had the confirmation here on NQ because we saw the close above within a couple of candles. Tapped the lowest fair value gap. Kept holding support on the breaker, this highest up closing candle perfectly. Nothing to complain about. Entry either at the 50% of the breaker block or for optimized risk reward at the lowest fair value gap possible. Well, the lowest fair value gap possible would have down here, but if you always choose those, well, in my opinion, you're kind of asking to be left behind. Not, yeah, being surprised if you want to scale in. Grab an entry at the 50%. That's always a good deal, especially if we don't have a fair value gap right here. We had a inversion fair value gap here to the left, but we really didn't respect it, so I'm not putting it on my chart. 50%, even the first entry, let's say you always enter with 3 contracts or you scale into your position, just want to make sure you get filled. First entry right here, second entry at the 50%, third entry at this fair value gap just below the breaker block, and you should have been really fine. Enough time to enter. I don't trade in Q. That's why I don't do it here on stream. Sometimes on paper, but that's really fine. RTY. We started streaming at around 3 a.m. Well, not the setup, I drew it up already before that. Without all the chop. Nice to see. And ES, well, started streaming at 3 a.m. The only thing that we could have used, didn't respect the inversion. The breaker block here on ES was only confirmed once we close really above it. But we see how we perfectly respected this entire breaker, this highest up closing candle. And continue to the upside here on the 5. On the 15, also didn't confirm, we didn't close above. That's up to the trader, I'd say. If you want to stick to rules, if you prefer, going with the flow, looking for a opportunity, you see the opportunity on RTY, NQ, and YM, and it all lines up with your higher time frame narrative, then that's the way to go. If we look at the daily time frame, already above the previous day's high. Next interesting target would be Wednesday's high, if we really want to continue higher. Our 2-to-1 should be hit. After we close above, we would have gotten a touch or the entry from the breaker block, but yeah, I want the fair value gap paired with that, which I think is acceptable. Can't win every day. We made a couple of mistakes on Monday. We made them back on Wednesday, I think. Yesterday on Thursday, we ended up at break even. And today, we'll see what we get during the New York AM session. But I think I would really wrap it up here. Get some things done. Nice, well done, Ulrich. Morning, did you guys take any good trades? My alarm didn't set off. I just woke up to see Miss Silverbullet. Well, sometimes happens. The most important thing is not trying to chase anything. I mean, of course, we could simply continue to rally, but we already expanded. The best opportunity was down here in Q. Same goes for ES and RTY and YM. I'd really like to engage after that. We hit a nice objective, at least on NQ. Previous day's high. We didn't take that during Asia, coming from the low of the day. Right now, I'd say that would be more of a chasing entry. So, yeah, took the entry here on YM with the Scalper Pro strategy, waited for the signal, and got in long. On ES, we didn't see the confirmation close above until 320, right here on this market structure shift. And yeah, those are the rules. I would be really mad at myself if I would have entered on early and it wouldn't have played out and actually stopped me out to go for the sell side liquidity. Also really didn't come from the low of the day. It came in below the Asia session low, so if we close one eye, we could accept that. But no, nice 2022 setup, not silver bullet. Just want to make that sure. Just want to make sure that you guys are aware of the difference. Not a silver bullet. I know it's similar. Many people on YouTube, from the videos you watched, might make it seem it's the same, but it's not. A silver bullet is a continuation entry of a fair value gap into a strong draw in liquidity, while the 2022 setup is a reversal setup at the extremes, coming from the extremes, shifting structure, entering on the fair value gap. That's all done. Let's see if we have any more questions. Yeah, we looked at Euro USD as well. Right here, let's take a look at that. Market structure shift came in right here, took out the previous day's low. This would have been the anticipation entry. We leave behind a fair value gap. We close above our inversion fair value gap here on the 5-minute time frame, so bearish fair value gap. We ignore that, we close above right here, anticipating the market structure shift after we took out the previous day's low, aggressively moving away from that inversion fair value gap entry, overlapping with a bullish fair value gap down here for the continuation up higher. And like we spoke about, once Volker mentioned EU is likely forming a nice setup, I immediately saw consolidation, manipulation, distribution. Power of 3 or AMD setup, accumulation, manipulation, distribution. So we should really see this Asia session high being hit. Sooner or later, we'll see. Maybe it happens during the London kill zone. Maybe it's going to become a 3-session setup and we consolidate for the rest of the New York, maybe below for the London below midnight, then see the expansion during New York. But I'd say high probability that the low of the day has been put in place just based on this power of 3 AMD setup. Likely gonna see it circulating all over on Twitter. We mentioned it, I think, right here on this candle once we checked it. Every time you see that accumulation and we don't really go much above it here and we just consolidate here, trap it one more time, trying to trap traders long here on EU and then selling off, trapping shorts, taking out a higher time frame objective. Now with the shift in structure, breaker block, holding support on the breaker block, already anticipating that because we understand the concept. Right here, inversion fair value gap overlapping with a bullish fair value gap for a nice and easy scalp. 20 pips. YM is now pulling back. Yes, it's doing the same thing. Wouldn't have hit our 2-to-1 just yet. RTY, that, and let's go back to NQ. So let's see, guys, unless you have any more questions, I would really end the live stream here. 2022 setup for the London kill zone happened. Not really looking for a second setup. Of course, we could continue higher. Like I said, the next buy side target in my mind would be right here at 4540. We're only 7 points at this point in time really away from hitting that. Back inside our 4-hour bearish fair value gap if we check that out. This is our highest bearish fair value gap. We rechecked it off on Wednesday before we take buy side right here from the 15th of September at 4567. On a daily, we already retested the bullish fair value gap. We might not get a deeper retracement and simply continue further to the upside following the bullish momentum. Understanding that the next buy side comes in right here inside this 4-hour bearish. We can look at the consequent encouragement, the middle line, and see what happens around this area. Maybe a potential pullback to continue up higher, but the overall draw 4566 and 4541.75. Ah, damn it, I closed RTY. Gonna do some back testing on that pair. I really want to see how the RTY over the weekend is moving. I mean, I really like how the setup happened here. Clean movement, took out the low of the day. Immediately displaced up within a couple of candles. No chop, no messing around. Boom, expansion to the upside. NQ messed around for a little while, but at least confirmed the structure shift. Not like ES. I'm gonna stick to some rules, at least for the trade day account. Saving the rest for the New York session. We'll see. Starting to retrace. Bullish fair value gap right here, but also bullish fair value gap down here. It's when I don't really like to enter on stuff. Yes, we could expect support, maybe from the Asia session high and that previous day's high to continue higher, but we would have to cover a little bit more than I like since the setup has happened. Well, not the perfect setup. The perfect setup only happened here on NQ. even with a nice draw on liquidity being the previous day's high. Asia didn't take that, low of the day, bullish SMT divergence with ES right here, making a lower low, while ES made a higher low right here, relatively speaking. So yeah, I think I covered it all. Can you simply just briefly explain the symbol question above before leaving? How do you implement the symbols on the trading view chart at the lines? Unicorn, I know how to set up templates for different lines, but how can I add symbols to the text? That might be a Mac thing. I simply hit, if I go into here, the text, I hit FN, that's what it says on my keyboard, the bottom left key, and then this little emoji tab eventually pops up, and I can put whatever I want in here. Or you just copy an emoji from the internet and paste it in here. If that's not working on Windows, if you want that, just some little playful things that I like to do, I guess. Like a sweep market structure shift with the up symbol right here, or the unicorn setup with the unicorn. But yeah, that's how I do it. Right click and choose emoji. On Windows, right click and choose emoji. Let's go. Alright guys, well, with this pump, major target hit for London. Not really trying to chase this for my funded account. Kind of missed the opportunity. Had to do something on my phone, get something sorted. But glad we secured $500 profit on the new topstep account by simply following the indicator-based strategy. Yesterday, I think, I didn't trade yesterday, but yesterday would have ended in a win, break even, and one losing trade. So plus 1 R yesterday, plus 2 R today. If you take all the trades plus 1 R, Wednesday ended up losing. So all up plus 1% in profit, risking 1%. And then right here over on Monday, now that's Tuesday, win, loss. So that would have been plus 4, plus 3, plus the 1, so plus 4% for the week. And here we had a loss and a win, so that's 1 plus 5% for the week. I'm currently sitting at plus 1%, but I'm not risking 1% per trade. I'm only risking 0.25% per trade. So in that sense, I'm up, well, between 0.5 and 1%, which basically is a 2.5, I'd say, with 600 equity. 2.5% from available 5. Also having a hard time, like, I mean, on Thursday we got it, Friday, sometimes pretty hard to do everything at the same time, so that just happens, but I always try to keep an eye on it. For the topstep account, I paused the funded topstep account to get this one passed and add some more equity to with topstep and trade 2 50k accounts, maybe hook them up to a trade copier. No, very likely hook them up to a trade copier and keep that going. Not really having to think much with these setups. Only sometimes, if I'm already doing my analysis on ES and all these other indices, sometimes already looking for the long just prohibits me from taking a unnecessary loss on YM. Sometimes that still ends up that I miss out on a potential win. So if you just play all the trades. But I don't know, I think after a while you get a good feeling for it, for how the indices move. That's why I only focus on the indices. That's why I'm also really interested in RTY. Gonna do some back testing on the weekend. We can hop in here for a little live stream back testing session if you guys want. Ask some questions. Spend some time. Just let me know, and then we can, like, I don't know, find a nice time that's working for everyone and hop in here, do some RTY backtesting. Let's check out tape reading. Nice, well done. In QYM and RTY. Oh, didn't close above the MSS level. All right. Okay, I think I would really call it a session. Trying to hop in on this. I mean, we might just completely reverse and continue to the downside, but the market structure shift would be missing for me. I mean, yes, we could get the market structure shift right here below the slow, but our stop loss would be kind of ridiculous. If we enter here, we have all these fair value gaps to the upside, and our 2-to-1 would be really far-fetched. Take a look at ES here. Already not perfectly respecting the first fair value gap, but like said, old support turning into old resistance turning now into support. Asia session high, the old high right here, 2 bullish fair value gaps for the continuation up higher. Otherwise, this was a manipulation move to trap longs, and our 2-to-1 also wouldn't have worked even if we would have entered right here. 7.5 points hasn't been hit. Of course, if you entered like Ryan down here, trying to get long on this bullish fair value gap, possible, I mean, your stop loss wouldn't have been super big, but that's not what I'm set out to do for this 66-day challenge, trying to put myself more out of the equation for this 100 account and see how that goes for this trade day challenge, basically. Simply by even watching a potential setup play out. I mean, your 2-to-1 would have more than worked if you entered down here like Ryan. But yeah, I hope you get the point of that. I just want to test it out and see what it is like. 2022 setup with a fixed 2-to-1 risk to reward, like we saw yesterday where we took the short right here. I mean, I understand it. If I would have traded this on my funded account as well, my stop loss has to go above here. There's no point in placing my stop loss up here and then seeing this candle go up a little higher, stop me out, and still not going back above this high and then continuing lower, making a losing trade out of a potential winning trade. So always put it at the swing high after the market structure shift, targeting our 2 to 1. Unfortunately yesterday not hit, but I moved my stop loss at least to break even to avoid a unnecessary loss, understanding that if we keep on ranging like here, that every time we hit a high we immediately pull back, now we hit the low and we immediately pull back. It's not really a perfect expansion day template. We saw the same thing here on Wednesday, so just based on that, moved my stop loss at least to break even. But yeah, testing how it goes. I mean, that's week number 2. We'll see. Maybe we get a win during the New York session. So we're already halfway through the challenge. If I wouldn't have made the mistake on Monday with the unicorn setup, which wasn't a unicorn setup, and the 2022 model passed kill zone, so 2 really stupid mistakes, we would be up $500 in profit right now. But right now, the challenge sits at break even. We'll see. Maybe next week we get a particularly good week, or the next 2 weeks, and we pass the challenge pretty quickly. Just want to see what happens if I take myself out of the equation, focusing more on the bigger picture than every single trade, trying to force a 2022 model when it doesn't line up with my rules. Basically, yeah, that's all I'm trying to do here. I mean, I still do my tape reading for the funded accounts, where I use more sort of a more go with the flow approach, where I would have also taken this entry, but I also wouldn't have waited for a 2 to 1 to be hit. Just a quick 5-point scalp, get in after seeing those rejection wicks, volume imbalance above, 5-point target, 2.5-point stop, like this, little scalp, based on reading order flow, done. But this morning kinda busy and a little bit distracted. That's okay. Take a look at RTY, holding support on that highest bullish fair value gap. Same goes for ES. Hit that HR session high and rejected. Also holding support on that highest bullish fair value gap. YM doing that same thing. And in Q, retraced a little bit deeper, bounced off the midnight, kept holding support on that new day opening gap. We'll see how that plays out. But yeah, unless you guys have any more questions, that's gonna be hit hard the one in gym. Yeah. Have a nice day. All right, guys, take care, and I will be back for the New York session. Bye.